We have Dr. Manisha Priyam. Today we'll talk about the recent trend in BJP of collecting contributions during public meetings of its Prime Ministerial candidate Narendra Modi. Hello ma'am. BJP is collecting a token amount of money, rupees 5 or rupees 10 from supporters of Mr. Narendra Modi during his rallies. How do you look at it?
See, this is an exercise, a massive exercise in brand building, as you can see. And it begins with looking at what is in brand terminology called the footfall effect. And I would see the footfall effect as having two kinds of inspirations. The first is the way in which we go to the cinema. I mean, ultimately a cinema succeeds if it is a hit at the box office. And that's what is ultimately going to be claimed. Because if you've got a ticketed entry for a Narendra Modi event, there can be ultimately a trade result at the box office saying so many footfalls at Modi's rally. So that's going to be one. But the second part of this is that these small amounts, let's not undermine the effect that these are going to have. These create for the party a certain amount of funds that are raised through public subscription. And I, for the first time, heard of this kind of an idea, believe it or not, from the Aam Aadmi Party, which said, good, we don't have big funds. We are not corporates. But if we ask people for a 10 rupee donation, that can make money for us, enough for us to sustain it through the elections. So I think it's going the full circle. It's asking for small people to give small funds. So in a sense, it's also an exercise at a party people connect, ask people for. So the moment you pay a 5 rupee or a 10 rupee entertainment tax to go and watch a political leader, you're also subscribing to that political party. So it is an exercise at brand building. It is an exercise that is inspired by the method in which the Bollywood works. It's also surprisingly inspired by Arvind's and his party's strategy of how they could go to the people and ask for small money.
Ma'am, the former Prime Minister during the NDA regime, Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee, he was equally popular. Mr. L.K. Advani had his share of fame. But why is it that in the last 33 years, or should I say, none of the political parties have ever charged money? Is this a new trend? Or?
It is a new trend. It is a new trend, and people of my generation would look at it with a certain amount of skepticism, because I have been witness to both. A massive rally around the Congress when Indira Gandhi died. There was an emotional outburst, and states that had voted against the Congress just in the elections before that rallied around on grounds of emotion. So I have seen that groundswell. I have also seen the anti-Congress groundswell where people would, surge around and fill a Gandhi Maidan to listen to a Jai Prakash Narayan or to a Raj Narayan who was speaking against Indira Gandhi, or the speeches that have happened in Ram Leela Maidan. Or just last year, why go that far? Last year when Anna was here, I think by the night the metro trains in Delhi were bringing people either to Jantar Mantar or to Ram Leela, and neither of these very public events were charged any money. So yes, this is going to be very, very different from what we've seen until now. And I may also tell you here about the Mayawati and DA case. I think the disproportionate assets that Mayawati had were ultimately justified in court by saying that these assets were not disproportionate. These have come from small contributors of those who are our admirers. So I think it's going towards a different model. Yes, it is indeed very different from the pulse of Indian politics, which has been essentially very moral until now.
Political parties can contribute on behalf of the people and claim that the money was given by the people or contributed by the people. So is there any way to find out how much of it is genuine?
Well, technically on a claim of this kind, you can say that you can perhaps do a random survey or something like that. But unless the money that is charged is put against a name and an address, it will be very difficult to check. But the moment there is a name of a person and an address or a phone number, a random sample of that can be cross-checked and people can verify whether they went or they did not go. And I think here it is certainly getting into a chanda mode. So it is different, but how it can be used or whether it can be misused, what kind of effect it will have, it's something for us to see.
Thank you for joining us, ma'am.